national team level for you.
Yeah.
The game is different. Some ways more physical, other things.
Very
You haven't
different.
played internationally besides the USA Younger.
Yeah.
Are you excited to sort of experience that, see what it's like to get you ready for potentially the World Cup and beyond the next 20 years as long as you're playing USA basketball?
Absolutely. You know, this is obviously everybody's dream, and I think, you know, although I've never played at the senior national team level, I've watched the game, and I've been on 3 junior national teams. I've been on 2 U19 teams where I played with a lot of college players when I was in high school and a lot of college coaches, so I kind of understand how you operate and you learn from the people around you. And
Nobody expected this game to turn into something bigger. It was supposed to be just another night in the WNBA. Another matchup, another scoreboard. But from the very first possession, something felt different. Caitlin Clark wasn't just being defended, she was being hunted. Every touch came with contact, every drive came with pressure. And across from her stood BREANNA STEWART, calm, composed, experienced. A player who had seen everything. But this night wasn't normal. Because the tension kept building. Play after play, possession after possession. Until suddenly, everything stopped. Sophie Cunningham went down, hard. No instant whistle. No quick reaction. Just a moment where the entire arena froze. And in that silence, something changed inside Clark. You could see it in her eyes. This wasn't just basketball anymore. This was personal. The game resumed, but the energy didn't. It shifted, it darkened. Clark wasn't playing the same way anymore. She was faster, sharper, more aggressive. Like she had something to prove. And nobody knew yet that this was just the beginning. The next few possessions felt heavier. Every dribble from Caitlin Clark carried emotion. Every move had purpose. Then came the moment. She gets the ball. No hesitation. Drives into space, pulls up. And right in front of BREANNA STEWART. She scores. But it wasn't just a basket. It was the reaction after. Clark didn't turn away. Didn't celebrate. She stared. Directly at Stewart. A long, cold stare that said everything without a single word. The arena felt it instantly. The crowd shifted. The tension exploded. Because now, it wasn't just competition. It was confrontation. Clark started talking. Small gestures, subtle but clear. And Stewart. She didn't react. No emotion, no escalation. Just that veteran composure. But that silence, it made everything louder. Because when a rookie challenges a legend like that, it changes the entire game. Now every possession mattered more. Every movement carried weight. This wasn't just about scoring anymore. This was about respect. By the final minutes, the game felt completely different. Faster, more intense, almost out of control. Caitlin Clark was still pushing, still aggressive, but now there was focus behind it. Controlled chaos. And BREANNA STEWART, still steady, still composed, like she was letting the moment pass, while staying in control of the bigger picture. The final buzzer came, and the scoreboard told one story. But the real story was everything that happened in between. The fall, the reaction, the stare, moments that don't show up in stats, but define games. And almost instantly, everything exploded off the court. Fans were divided. Some called it passion. Some called it disrespect. Others said, this is exactly what the league needs. Because moments like this don't fade. They build rivalries. They create narratives. They shape careers. And whether you agreed with it or not, one thing became clear that night. Caitlin Clark didn't just play the game. She changed the energy of it. The game didn't slow down after that moment. It got heavier. Every time Caitlin Clark touched the ball, the defense tightened. Not just strategy, intent. Bodies got closer. Hands got more physical. And Clark, she welcomed it. No hesitation, no backing off. But pressure like that doesn't just test skill. It tests composure. And across the floor, BREANNA STEWART kept playing her game. No reaction, just execution. That contrast, it started telling its own story. There were no loud arguments. No technical fouls. But something deeper was happening. Clark versus Stewart wasn't about words. It was about presence. Every possession became a message. Every look, every movement intentional. Clark played fast, emotional, explosive. Stewart played controlled, patient, precise. Two completely different styles, colliding in real time. And the crowd could feel it. At first, it was just noise. Then it became sides. Some fans stood with Caitlin Clark, seeing fire, passion, hunger. Others leaned toward BREANNA STEWART, respecting calm, control, experience. The arena wasn't just watching anymore. It was reacting. Every shot got louder. Every miss got sharper. And suddenly, it wasn't just a game. It was an atmosphere. Late in the game, everything tightened. Possession slowed, but tension didn't. Clark started picking her moments. Less rushed, more calculated. That emotion, still there but focused now. You could see the shift. This wasn't just reaction anymore. This was adaptation. And that's when things got dangerous, while Clark adjusted. BREANNA STEWART never changed. Same rhythm. Same composure. That's what experience looks like. No need to chase the moment. Just control it. And in games like this, that matters. Because when emotions peak, discipline wins last minutes. Everything on the line. Clark pushed harder. Faster pace, sharper decisions. She wasn't just playing to win. She was playing to prove something. Every possession felt like a statement. Every movement carried urgency. And the energy. Unreal, then it ended. The buzzer cut through everything. Noise, pressure, emotion. Gone in a second. Players walked off. But the moment stayed. Because this game was bigger than the score. It was about what happened inside it. It didn't take long. Clips started spreading instantly. The stare. The shot. The tension. Fans everywhere had opinions. Elite competitiveness. Too emotional. Future rivalry. Everyone saw it differently. But everyone was watching. Now the story had a life of its own. Headlines, debates, discussions. Caitlin Clark became the center again. Not just for performance, but for attitude. And BREANNA STEWART. Still respected. Still steady. The contrast kept growing. And so did the conversation. Moments like this don't just happen. They reveal things. For Clark, how far emotion can take you, and where control has to step in. For Stewart, a reminder of what experience brings. Balance, because at the highest level, talent isn't enough. Games like this don't end when the clock does. They carry forward. Next matchup. Different energy. More attention. More expectation. Because now, it's not just another game. It's history in the making. Years from now, people might forget the score. But they won't forget the moment. The intensity. The stare. The shift. Because that night, Caitlin Clark didn't just compete. She announced herself. And BREANNA STEWART. She showed exactly why she's already established. And somewhere in between those two, a rivalry was born. The game was over. But the noise didn't follow them inside. When Caitlin Clark stepped into the locker room, everything changed. No crowd. No lights. No cameras. Just silence. The kind of silence that forces you to think. Every play replayed in her head. That moment. That stare. That emotion she couldn't hold back. Because out there, it felt right. Natural, honest. But in here, it felt heavier. Teammates moved around quietly. Some still processing the loss. Others checking on Sophie Cunningham. And Clark sat there for a second longer than usual. Not angry. Not proud. Just thinking. Because for the first time that night, the adrenaline was gone. And all that was left was reflection. Across the hallway, a completely different energy. BREANNA Stewart sat calmly. No frustration. No visible reaction. Just composure. Because she had seen this before. Young stars, big emotion, defining moments. To her, this wasn't chaos. It was part of the process. A necessary step. She understood something most don't. That the league doesn't just test your skill. It tests your control. And tonight, Clark showed fire. But Stewart, she showed mastery. Not by reacting, but by staying exactly the same back home. Fans weren't done. They were just getting started. Clips of Caitlin Clark replayed everywhere. The shot, the stare, the moment, over and over again. Slowed down, zoomed in, analyzed. People weren't just watching. They were studying it. Was it emotion? Was it frustration? Was it a message? Everyone had a different answer. And that's what made it powerful. Because moments like this don't just exist. They spread. Something changed after that night. Not just how people saw Caitlin Clark, but how she saw herself. Before, she was the rising star, the scorer, the highlight. Now, she was something more. A competitor with edge. A player willing to push limits. But with that came responsibility. Because emotion can elevate you. Or expose you. And the next game would reveal which direction she was going. The schedule moved forward. But the memory didn't. Fans circled the next matchup instantly. Clark versus Stewart. Not just a game anymore. A storyline. A continuation. And the anticipation grew. Because everyone wanted to know. What happens next? Does Clark come in calmer? Or even more aggressive? Does Stewart respond? Or stay above it again? Because in sports, the second chapter is always bigger than the first. And this one, morning doesn't arrive all at once. It leaks in slowly. Through the edges of the curtains. Through the quiet hum of a city that never fully sleeps. Through that strange, empty feeling that only comes after something intense. For Caitlin Clark, this morning feels different. Not heavier. Not lighter. Just different. The kind of different you don't notice right away, but it sits there, waiting just beneath the surface. Her eyes open, but she doesn't move. For a few seconds, there's nothing. No noise. No crowd. No sneakers screeching against hardwood. Just silence. Real silence. And in that silence, the game comes back. Not all at once. Just flashes. A possession. A movement. A moment. Then, that moment. The shot. The stare. The energy. Her expression tightens slightly, almost instinctively, like her body remembers before her mind fully catches up. She exhales. Slow. Controlled. But even that breath feels different today. Because deep down, She already knows. Before she even reaches for her phone. Before she checks a single notification. She knows the world has seen it. The phone is sitting just a few inches away. Face down. Silent. But it doesn't feel silent. It feels loud. Like it's holding something. Waiting. She stares at it for a moment longer than usual. Not nervous. Not excited. Just aware. Because once she flips it over, once she unlocks it, there's no going back to before. Last night becomes real in a different way. Not just something that happened, but something that's being watched, replayed, judged, talked about. She reaches for it, pauses, then finally picks it up. The screen lights up instantly. And just like that, everything confirms what she already knew. Notifications. Dozens. Then hundreds. Messages stacking on top of each other. Mentions, tags, alerts. Clips. Always clips. She doesn't open anything yet. She doesn't need to. Because she already knows what they're about. That moment didn't stay in the arena. It didn't stay between the lines of the court. It traveled. Vast. Faster than anything else in the game. Because that's how moments like that work. They don't wait. They spread. She unlocks the phone anyway. Just a glance. That's all it takes. A paused video frame. Her. Mid-stare. Eyes locked forward. Emotion frozen in a single image. It's strange seeing it like that. Still. Controlled. Because it didn't feel still in the moment. It felt fast. Raw. Unfiltered. Now it looks different. Almost like it belongs to someone else. She scrolls once. Then stops. That's enough. For now. The room still hasn't changed. Same quiet. Same soft light. Same morning. But something inside it has shifted. Because now, the outside world has entered. And with it comes something every athlete eventually faces. Not the game itself, but everything that comes after. The opinions, the interpretations, the narratives, and none of them ask for permission. She sits up slowly, letting her feet touch the floor. Cold, grounding, real. This exact moment, is something people don't see. There are no cameras here. No commentary. No crowd reactions. Just a player. And the space between what happened and what it means. Because that's the real question now. Not what she did. Not what people saw. But what it means. Moments like that don't disappear. They don't fade overnight. They attach themselves to you. Quietly, persistently, and over time, they become part of how people see you. Part of how they talk about you. Part of how they remember you. And maybe even part of how you see yourself. She stands up, walks a few steps, stops. There's no rush. No immediate schedule pressing down yet. Just time. Time to think. Time to process. Time to sit in the space between reaction and understanding. Because last night, it felt right. Natural. Like the only possible response in that moment. But now there's distance. And distance changes things. It always does. Across the room, the TV sits dark. Silent. But it won't stay that way for long. Soon enough, highlights will loop. Analysts will talk. Voices will fill the space that's currently quiet. But right now, this is the only version of the moment that matters. The one inside her head. Unedited. Unfiltered. Honest. She takes another breath. Deeper this time. And for a second, just a second, there's clarity. Not about everything. Not about how people will react. Not about what comes next. But about one simple truth. She felt something. And she didn't hide it. And whether that's right or wrong, whether it's praised or criticized, whether it builds her up or challenges her, that part is real. The phone lights up again. Another notification. Then another. It's not slowing down. It won't slow down. Not today. Maybe not tomorrow either. Because moments like that, they don't just pass. They stay. They echo. And as Caitlin Clark stands there in the quiet of the morning, one thing becomes clear. Last night wasn't just a game. It was a turning point. And whether she wanted it or not, she's now standing on the other side of it. The room doesn't feel the same anymore. Nothing has physically changed. Same walls, same light, same quiet morning air. But once awareness settles in, everything shifts. Caitlin Clark walks toward the window, slow, almost instinctive. Like she needs to see something real. Outside, the world is moving like nothing happened. Cars pass. People walk. Morning routines unfold with quiet normalcy. No one out there knows exactly what's sitting in her head right now. No one can feel the weight of a single moment replaying over and over. And that's the strange part. Because for her, it was everything. For the world, it's content. She rests her hand lightly against the edge of the window. Cool glass. Grounding. Something steady in the middle of all this movement, internal and external. Her mind drifts back again. Not forced. Just pulled. That moment doesn't ask for permission anymore. It shows up on its own. The drive. The release. The eye contact. And most of all, the feeling. That surge of intensity that didn't feel like a decision. It felt automatic. Like something deeper took over. She tries to slow it down in her head. Frame by frame. What happened right before? What triggered it? Was it the fall? The contact? The build-up over the game? Or was it something even earlier? Weeks of pressure. Expectations. Every possession being watched closer than usual. Sometimes it's never just one moment. Sometimes it's everything compressed into one. She exhales again, longer this time. Because analyzing it doesn't make it disappear. It just makes it clearer. And clarity can be uncomfortable. Her phone buzzes again. This time she picks it up without hesitation. No pause. No delay. If it's there, she's going to see it. She taps into one of the clips. It loads instantly. Of course it does. This is what everyone is watching. The angle is tight, focused, designed to capture emotion. And it does exactly that. There she is again. Caitlin Clark, frozen for a split second in time. The shot looks smooth, confident, controlled. But the reaction, that's what the clip is really about. The stare, direct, unapologetic, unfiltered. She watches it once, then again. The second time feels different, less emotional, more observational, like she's studying someone else. Comments start loading underneath. Fast, too fast to fully read. But a few stand out. Cold moment. That's passion. Too much. Future face of the league. Crossed a line. Different perspectives. Same clip. That's the reality now. The moment doesn't belong to her anymore. It belongs to everyone watching it, interpreting it, turning it into something that fits their own view. She locks the phone, not because she's overwhelmed, but because she understands. There's no end to that scroll. No final answer waiting at the bottom. Just more opinions. More noise. She sets the phone down again. This time face up. Not avoiding it anymore. Just choosing when to engage. Her shoulders relax slightly. Not fully, but enough. Because something is starting to settle. Not the situation, but her place in it. Across the room, her gear bag sits partially open. Shoes still inside. Untouched since last night. There's something about that. The physical reminder of the game still waiting. Like it hasn't fully ended yet. She walks over. Kneels down. Opens it the rest of the way. The smell of the court is still there. Faint, but familiar. A mix of effort, motion, and time spent in competition. She picks up one of the shoes. Turns it slightly in her hand. This is where everything happened. Every step. Every movement. Every reaction. It's strange how something so intense comes down to moments that small. Seconds. Movements. Instincts. She sets the shoe back down. Carefully. Not rushed. Not careless. Because no matter how big the moment becomes outside, inside it always comes back to the same place. The game. The rhythm. The decisions made in real time. And that's where the focus begins to shift. Away from the noise. Away from the replay. Back towards something familiar. Something controllable. Because no matter what people say, no matter how they interpret it, there's one thing that doesn't change. There's another game coming. And that's where everything resets. Or doesn't, depending on how she chooses to carry this forward. She stands again. A little more grounded now. A little more aware. Not of the outside world, but of herself within it. Because this moment, it's not the end of anything. It's a beginning. A shift. A line between before and what comes next. And as Caitlin Clark looks back at her phone one more time, not to scroll, not to react, just to acknowledge, one quiet realization settles in. The moment is already out there, but the meaning. So comment second part and like this video, and subscribe this channel for more videos.